Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're taking a snapshot of India through today's top headlines.
Think of it like an instant download of what's really making news right now.
Exactly. Instead of one deep topic, we're hitting a whole range: cricket, tech, politics, health, you name it.
A real mix. We'll cover quite a bit of ground, touching on international relations too.
Our mission really is to pull out the key details, understand the stories behind the headlines, and give you a quick but thorough understanding. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's get started.
Okay, first up, cricket. Big news from the IPL. Sunrisers Hyderabad defeats Lucknow Super Giants, impacting IPL playoff race, and it sounds like it was quite a match.
Oh, definitely. Hyderabad put on a clinic, chasing down 205. A 6-wicket win.
With 10 balls to spare, too, that's a commanding victory.
It really was. Shows real firepower.
And the standout performance, Abhishek Sharma, it seems.
Incredible innings, 59 runs, and get this, off just 18 balls.
Wow, 18 balls. That kind of hitting just, blows the game open.
Completely changes the pressure, right from the start. Put Lucknow's bowlers on the back foot immediately.
Now, Lucknow, they actually started pretty well, didn't they? A strong opening partnership.
Yeah, Marsh and Markram both got into the 60s, put on 115 together, looked solid.
But then...
The middle order just couldn't capitalize, kind of crumbled.
And Rishabh Pant's form is still a concern, I gather.
Yes, another single-digit score for him, dismissed for 7. That's his 7th this season. Not what you want from your captain at this stage.
No, definitely not. And Hyderabad's bowling, Yesha Malinga did well.
He did. Bowled economically, picked up 2 crucial wickets for just 28 runs, helped keep that total somewhat manageable, even though it was over 200.
So the bottom line for Lucknow.
Their playoff hopes are officially gone now. This loss sealed it.
Okay, so who is in the playoffs?
We got Gujarat Titans, Royal Challengers Bengaluru, and Punjab Kings confirmed.
And the last spot.
It's down to Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals. That'll be the one to watch. Yeah, Hyderabad's chase was, well, dominant. It sends a message. For Lucknow, it's that middle order fragility and pants form that really cost them.
Okay, let's switch gears. Headline number 2 takes us into tech. OpenAI introduces local data residency in India. What does this actually mean?
Essentially, OpenAI is now offering businesses in India and some other Asian countries, too, the option to store their data at rest locally.
Data at rest. So physically stored on servers within India.
That's the idea. It's mainly aimed at attracting companies, especially in sectors like finance, that have really strict data localization rules.
Makes sense. Helps with the compliance, I suppose.
It helps with some compliance, yes. But it's important to note, this is only partial localization.
Ah, okay. Because the headline mentions model processing and inference still happen overseas.
Exactly. So while your raw data might sit on a server in India, when you actually use the AI for training, for generating responses, that computation still happens on OpenAI's servers abroad.
So not full data sovereignty then?
No, not quite. Data in transit, data during processing. That might still leave the country. Experts are saying it helps compliance, but maybe not enough for, say, highly sensitive personal information under some regulations.
Is there talk of them going further, maybe offering full-stack hosting here?
There is speculation, yes. With growing demand in India and, competition from open source models you can host yourself, it seems like a logical next step for OpenAI.
And they're looking beyond Microsoft for data centers.
Reportedly, yes. Exploring partnerships with Indian providers. It suggests they're seriously considering a deeper infrastructure presence here.
Interesting. Okay, moving on to business and wealth. Gopi Chand Hinduja and family named richest in Britain. That's quite a headline.
It really is. According to the Sunday Times Rich List for 2025, their fortune is estimated at 33.67 lakh crore, puts them ahead of the Rubin family.
A huge number. And Gopi Chand Hinduja took over as chairman fairly recently.
Yes. In May 2023, after his brother Srichand passed away. The Hinduja Group itself is incredibly diverse. Trucking, lubricants, banking, cable TV.
A wide portfolio. And they have significant London real estate, too, right? The old War Office building.
That's probably their most high-profile asset there, yes.
Yeah.
The Raffles London Hotel and the Old War Office, a landmark building in Whitehall, shows their deep investment in the UK.
And Gopi Chand Hinduja himself, educated in Mumbai and then London, involved in key acquisitions.
Absolutely. Gulf Oil back in '84, Ashok Leyland in '87. Those were major moves that really expanded the group's reach globally.
And there's that family property dispute that got resolved.
Yes, that was settled back in November 2022. Probably helped clear the decks for a more unified strategy going forward. It's a story of massive global Indian enterprise.
Let's shift now to politics and international relations. First headline here. Sharad Pawar counters Sanjay Raut on boycotting global outreach delegations. Sounds like some friction within the opposition India bloc.
That's the gist of it. Sanjay Raut from Shiv Sena UBT called for the bloc to boycott these government-led international delegations.
But Sharad Pawar disagreed.
Yes, Pawar, head of NCP, pushed back. He argued you need to separate domestic politics from international affairs.
He even brought up his own experience.
He did. Mentioned being part of a UN delegation under PM Narasimha Rao, which was actually led by the BJP's Atal Bihari Vajpayee, highlighting a history of working together on the foreign stage.
Whereas Raut sees these delegations differently.
Rao was critical, suggesting they're just a cover-up, a way for the government to look good.
How did Pawar respond to that?
He stressed the need for a united front, especially on issues like the recent Pahalgam terror attack and Pakistan's alleged role. He also, interestingly, pointed out that Priyanka Chaturvedi, from Raut's own party, is actually part of one of these delegations.
Oh, really? That does complicate the call for a boycott.
It does. These delegations, 51 leaders in total, are apparently part of something called Operation Sindoor, focused on India's stance on terrorism.
So this disagreement highlights tensions within the alliance.
It certainly seems to reflect some underlying friction, maybe linked to recent election results, and perhaps some reported accusations Rao made against Pawar. It points to the complexities of maintaining opposition unity.
Okay, next, a major security headline. India intercepts Chinese-origin PL-15E missile fired by Pakistan. This sounds significant.
Highly significant. This is reportedly the first time this advanced Chinese air-to-air missile, the PL-15E, has been defeated in actual combat.
Fired from a Pakistani jet.
Yes, apparently launched from a JF-17 fighter during skirmishes after India's Operation Sindoor.
And how was it intercepted? What took it down?
The reports say India's electronic warfare units neutralized it, which speaks volumes about India's EW capabilities.
EW being electronic warfare jamming, disruption.
Exactly, using the electromagnetic spectrum offensively or defensively.
And the wreckage was recovered.
Yes, in Punjab's Hoshiarpur district. And this debris is apparently attracting a lot of international interest.
Why is that? What can they learn?
Well, examining the missile's radar signature, its motor components, the JA ESA radar seeker, it gives valuable intelligence on China's latest missile tech. AESA, that's the active electronically scanned array radar, more advanced, harder to jam.
So countries like France, Japan, the Five Eyes network, they all want to look.
Understandably, France makes the Meteor missile a direct competitor. Japan is focused on bolstering its defenses against regional threats. And the Five Eyes, well, it's crucial intelligence for them.
What makes the PL-15E so advanced?
It's a long-range missile, reportedly capable of Mach 5+ speeds, range maybe 200, 300 kilometers, with a dual-pulse motor for energy management. It's used on China's top jets like the J-20.
So intercepting it is a big deal, a validation for India's air defenses.
Definitely. Systems like the S-400, the indigenous Akash Tir, this shows they can counter sophisticated threats.
Though the tech race continues, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. China's reportedly working on the next-gen PL-17 already. It highlights this constant evolution in aerial warfare, heavily influenced now by information and electronic warfare. Big strategic implications.
Sticking with India-Pakistan relations. India urges Pakistan to extradite terrorists. Operation Sindoor paused, but not over. A firm stance continues.
Yes, India is being very explicit, naming Hafiz Saeed, Sajid Mir, Zakir Rehman Lakhvi. They're drawing a parallel to the U.S. extraditing Tahir Rana for the Mumbai attacks.
They want Pakistan to hand them over.
Precisely. And regarding Operation Sindoor, the post-Pahalgam operation,
What's the status?
India's ambassador to Israel, J.P. Singh, said it's paused, but importantly, not over. Suggests a strategic pause, not an end.
He also talked about a new normal in counterterrorism.
He did, describing a shift to a more offensive strategy needing to eliminate terrorists and their infrastructure. He even called the reported May 10th strike on Pakistan's Nurtan base a game changer that led to Pakistan seeking a ceasefire.
Strong words. What about the Indus Waters Treaty? That came up too.
Yes, Ambassador Singh pushed back hard against Pakistan's claim that India suspending the treaty would be an act of war. He argued Pakistan hasn't upheld the treaty's goodwill aspect.
Using quite a stark phrase.
He did. India allowed water to flow, while Pakistan allowed terror to flow, directly linking water sharing to terrorism.
And Pakistan's offer to investigate the Pahalgam attack.
Dismissed, citing past failures in investigations like Mumbai, Pathankot, Pulwama. India doesn't seem to trust their process.
So the call is for global cooperation.
Yes, particularly mentioning stronger coordination between India and Israel. The overall message is zero tolerance for cross-border terrorism.
Okay, shifting focus to the U.S. U.S. imposes visa bans on Indian travel agencies for facilitating illegal migration. What's happening here?
The U.S. State Department has put visa bans on owners and staff of some unnamed Indian travel agencies. They're accused of helping people migrate illegally to the U.S.
Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, is this based on specific intelligence?
It seems so, based on information gathered by the U.S. mission in India. The specific methods aren't detailed, but it fits into the broader context of the Trump administration's focus on immigration enforcement.
And the U.S. Embassy has been warning about visa overstays.
Consistently, yes. Warning about the serious consequences, like deportation and future bans. This action against agencies seems like another step to clamp down on any facilitation networks.
The report mentioned a big enforcement operation in Florida, too.
Right, over 1,100 arrests back in March. Shows a continued focus on enforcement. A State Department spokesperson confirmed they'll keep restricting those involved in alien smuggling.
And they don't always name the people or agencies involved in these bans.
No, that's fairly standard practice for the U.S. in these situations. It signals increased vigilance regarding immigration pathways from India.
Next, a Supreme Court ruling. Supreme Court rules India is not a dharamshala for foreign nationals, rejects Sri Lankan Tamil plea. A strong statement.
Very strong. The court rejected a plea from Subhaskaran, a Sri Lankan Tamil who finished a jail term under the UAPA, the anti-terror law. He wanted to stay in India.
UAPA being the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and the court's reasoning.
Justice Dipankar Datta explicitly said India, with its huge population, can't be a dharamshala like a charitable inn for foreign nationals indefinitely.
What was Subhaskaran's argument for staying?
He claimed he'd face arrest and torture back in Sri Lanka as a former LTTE member. Plus, his family is here in India.
But the court wasn't swayed.
No. They ruled that the right to settle in India belongs only to citizens. They rejected his claim that deportation would violate Article 21, the right to life and liberty.
This follows a similar ruling on Rohingyas recently.
Yes, just days before, they refused to stop Rohingya deportations, criticizing unsubstantiated claims in that petition, too.
So Subhaskaran's case, he was convicted for trying to revive the LTT.
Correct. Convicted in 2018, sentence reduced to 7 years. The Madras High Court had already ordered his immediate deportation upon release, despite his wife's pleas. It's a stark ruling on sovereignty versus refugee claims.
Now, a headline concerning academic freedom. Political science professor Ali Khan Mahmoodabad arrested for anti-war social media posts. This has caused quite a stir.
It certainly has. Professor Mahmoodabad from Ashoka University, with ties to Muslim aristocracy, was arrested. The charge is serious, threatening India's sovereignty.
Based on social media posts made during India-Pakistan tensions.
Yes, following the Kashmir attack. His posts apparently supported the armed forces, but also warned against reckless bloodlust.
What else did he reportedly say?
He urged consideration of rising communalism and violence against minorities, specifically mentioning Muslims. He also apparently criticized some commentators for praising Muslim soldiers while ignoring violence faced by other Muslims.
Like lynchings or demolitions?
Those are mentioned in reports about his posts, yes. He also warned about blurring lines between military action and civilian casualties on both sides.
And the reaction to his arrest?
Widespread outrage. Academics, rights groups, opposition parties, they're calling it suppression of dissent, targeting critics, especially Muslims.
Ashoka University faculty condemned it.
Yes, along with over 1,200 other academics. They see it as an attack on academic freedom and constitutional rights. Critics feel it shows growing intolerance for dissent, particularly around military actions or minority issues.
Okay, let's turn to public health. India's COVID-19 situation under control despite rising cases elsewhere. Some positive news there.
Yes, definitely reassuring. A high-level review meeting with top health officials and institutions concluded the situation in India is stable.
What are the key signs? Low case numbers.
Very low. As of May 19th, only 257 active cases nationwide. And crucially, most are mild, not needing hospitalization.
So the current variants aren't causing severe disease, it seems.
That appears to be the case. Surveillance is ongoing, of course, through the IDSP network and ICMR, tracking flu-like illnesses.
But the overall message is preparedness.
Exactly. The meeting stressed that India's readiness is strong, healthcare infrastructure is vigilant. It's a good sign, especially compared to flare-ups seen in other regions.
Next, an environmental and economic challenge. India's coal-based steel expansion challenges global carbon reduction. This flags a potential conflict.
It does. A Global Energy Monitor report highlights this tension. The steel sector is a huge global CO2 emitter, about 11%, and India has ambitious plans to double production by 2030.
But much of this expansion relies on coal-based methods.
That's the concern. While cleaner electric arc furnaces, or EAFs, exist, they mostly melt scrap steel, much lower emissions.
India's adoption rate isn't high enough.
The projection is about 36% EAF use by 2030. But models suggest around 37% is needed to align with a net zero pass by 2050.
That 1% gap sounds small, but is it significant?
According to the report author, yes. It could mean tens of millions of extra tons of CO2. India's steel industry is currently the world's most carbon-intensive, and most planned expansion still uses blast furnaces.
Is all this planned expansion actually happening quickly?
Interestingly, no. The implementation rate of new capacity announced since the 2017 policy is quite low, only about 12%, much lower than China's rate, for example.
So there's maybe an opportunity to shift towards cleaner tech.
That's the argument. Redirect planned, but not yet built, capacity towards EFs. The IEA has warned the whole sector needs faster decarbonization for 2050 goals.
India's own net zero target is 2070, but this sector is a challenge.
It is. Balancing growth with climate goals in heavy industry is a major hurdle.
Let's look at urban issues. Mumbai mandates parking proof for vehicle registration, a direct move to tackle the parking crunch.
A very direct move, announced by Maharashtra Transport Minister Pratap Sarnaik. To register a new vehicle in Mumbai, you'll now need proof of a designated parking space from the civic body.
Aimed at reducing on-street parking congestion.
Exactly. It came out of a high-level meeting on the state's parking policy. There's also emphasis on developers providing parking with new flats.
Are they looking at other solutions too? Underground parking?
Yes, the Urban Development Department is exploring building parking plazas under parks and playgrounds, trying to use space creatively.
And updates on the pod taxi plans.
Yes, Minister Sarnaik mentioned a visit to Vadodara to see their system. Plans are moving forward for pod taxis in Mirabayandar and BKC to improve metro connectivity. It's all part of tackling Mumbai's urban transport challenges.
Almost there. Penultimate headline. India launches revamped OCI portal. Good news for the diaspora.
Yes, aimed at the 5 million or so overseas citizens of India cardholders. It's designed to be more accessible, streamline services. Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated it.
What are the main improvements?
PM Modi praised its enhanced features, calling it more citizen-friendly. Minister Shah stressed commitment to world-class facilities for OCIs. Basically a better user interface, simpler registration, easier access to OCI services.
Making it easier to manage benefits and status.
That's the goal. It fits into India's wider Digital India push, using tech for better governance.
And strengthening ties with the diaspora.
Absolutely. Providing a smoother experience, acknowledging their importance.
And finally, just to circle back briefly, India's COVID-19 situation under control despite rising cases elsewhere. We covered this, but it's worth ending on that note of stability.
Agreed. A positive point about public health management in India currently.
Right. So that brings us to the end of this rapid-fire deep dive through today's Indian headlines. It's quite something to see the range, isn't it?
It really is. From IPL action to AI data rules, diplomatic moves to Supreme Court rulings.
And you start to see the connections, the underlying themes, tech's growing role, geopolitical shifts, domestic policy debates, environmental pressures.
Definitely. They aren't just separate stories. They often weave together to form a larger picture of contemporary India.
So a final thought for you, the listener. Considering everything we've touched upon today, from the economy and tech to security and society, what single area do you think will have the most significant long-term impact on India's path forward? And, maybe more importantly, why?
A complex question with no single right answer, but certainly something to ponder.
Thank you for joining us for this rather different deep dive today. We hope this snapshot of the headlines has given you some valuable insights into what's shaping India right now.